Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with every single book that is on my physical TBR for 2025. So without further ado, I'm just going to get straight into it because there are quite a few. So we're going to start with three that aren't on the cart because I do keep these on my shelves just because they're so pretty, but typically all the books I haven't read are on this TBR cart. So the first thing is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I own physical copies of these but not physical copies of Caraval yet. And I've only read the first Caraval book, so I am going to finish those two early in 2025 and then move on to these. I am very, very excited to read these, and as I said, these copies are just absolutely stunning, so I do display them, but yeah, I still have not read them. So let's now get on to the TBR cart itself. This isn't in any particular order or separated by genre. These are all just whacked on here. I tried to separate them by genre, but I had too many of different genres to fit, so it just ended up that they are all thrown on here. So the first one is Broken Web by Laurie M. Lee. This is the second book in the Shaman Born series. I read A Forest of Souls in November, I think it was, and really enjoyed it. So very much anticipating reading the second one. And I am very much trying to read series a lot closer together now instead of reading like one book in a series and then reading the next one 8 months later. I really want to be on a bit more of a roll. So, that being said, we've got another whole series here that I have not read. Briar You by Elle Kennedy. I love Off Campus, so I don't know why I haven't read this. I'm not going to go through what all of these are about, by the way, because we'll be here all day. But yeah, I love Off Campus, and this is just an extension of Off Campus, so again, very excited for that one. Hanu and Ishi's Guide to Fake Dating. I don't know much about this, but I'm obsessed with the fake dating trope, and it says it on the cover, so I bought it. I've owned that for a very long time, though, so I really do need to get to it. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, her newest full-length novel release that I still have not read. I have read all of her other novels now, so it's just this one left, but I'm not massively in a rush. I'm very excited for it because I love Ali Hazelwood, but I don't want to be left with no books to read by her, so I'll probably read this maybe just before her new novel comes out next year, so that then I've got another one to anticipate, if that makes any sense at all. And then Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlina. Very excited for this one. I feel like this could be a favourite book ever, so I've kind of been putting it off because I don't want to be disappointed if it doesn't end up being like a 6-star read. But yeah, second chance romance, set in New York, say no more. And then I've got Wild Love and Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. Obviously have not read either of them. I have finished Chestnut Springs, but I want to go back and read the Gold Rush Ranch series before I read these ones, I think, just so I feel like I've still done it out of order because I read Chestnut Springs first, but I want to go back and read the old ones before I move on to this new series. Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. I have no excuse for this one. I absolutely adored Love Redesigned. It was like a 4.5 5-star read for me. So I am anticipating this. It's just bloody big, isn't it? And then last two on the top, we've got You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, which I don't know much about this. I bought it because I heard one person talk about it and it looks stunning, but then it's had awful reviews. So I'm a bit nervous for this one. And then, bit rogue, we've got Dear John. I bought this in a charity shop ages ago. I was going to just unhaul it because I was like, if I care, I'll just watch the film. But I know that this has like a military kind of background. Yeah, I think he was in the military and has to rejoin or something. And I do love books like historical fiction about war. Just having those kind of elements might make me enjoy this, so I just do want to give it a go before I just get rid of it. So yeah, they are the books on the top. I'm just going to pop those back on actually so I don't make too much of a mess all over this room, and then we will move on to the second layer. Okay, moving on to the next layer. This one is double stacked, so there's a lot more books on here. Red Queen, I'm so excited to read this, but I know that people have said that Powerless by Lauren Roberts is very similar, so I think I'm going to wait until the final book in that trilogy has come out, read that, get that trilogy done, and then start this series, just so I'm not getting them confused if they are a little bit similar. This Savage Song by V. Schwab. I loved Addie LaRue and then haven't read anything else by V. Schwab, so I'm very excited to read something else from her. Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. I haven't read anything by Catherine Center, so she is one of the authors that I am very much looking forward to reading for the first time in 2025. I do have The Bodyguard on my Kindle though, so I might read that first because I think people prefer The Bodyguard to this one, but we'll see. This was the one they had at the works, so it was the one I bought a physical copy of. Then we've got These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. I really don't know much about this. I know it's just a YA fantasy. Is it about sisters maybe? Might be a complete lie. Oh, it is, yeah. A sister is taken by a king and she tries to solve that. So, yeah, there we go. Gorgeous cover. We've got another romance, The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I'll probably leave this one until the summer. I've had very mixed luck with Christina Lauren. I've only really loved The Unhoneymooners by then. I've read quite a lot of their books and haven't loved them, but I did love The Unhoneymooners, and I feel like the vibe of this is going to be quite similar, so I am looking forward to that one. Another author I've never read from before, we've got Savour It by Tara DeWitt. I really don't know much about this. Cover is stunning. What Happens After Midnight by K.A. Walther. I really loved The Summer of Broken Rules when I read it this summer, so again, I keep saying I'm excited. I mean, that's good, I suppose, that I'm not dreading these books, but I feel like it's annoying that I keep saying it. But yeah, I really love The Summer of Broken Rules, and I know this has, like, it's different in that this isn't set in the summer, I don't think, or this is set at, like, a boarding school or something, but it still has the, like, game aspect, and that was the main thing I loved about The Summer of Broken Rules. Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood and surprisingly really enjoyed it, and I know this isn't quite the same. I think the vibe is a little bit different. I don't think this is quite as kind of fantastical and like politics, fantasy world based as Bride, but I thought I'd give it a go because people were kind of recommending this alongside, like, if you enjoy Bride, read this. So I bought it. I'm a simple girl. I've got Guild by Raven Kennedy. I literally don't know anything about this. I just saw it. I think I got this from Asda because I thought the cover was nice. I have heard a lot of people talk about it. I just don't know what it's about. I think it is quite dark. It's obviously a fantasy book, and I think it's got some quite dark elements throughout the series. Again, the only reason I haven't read this is because it's a series and I don't want to keep starting them and sit in the middle of them. So we'll get round to this at some point in the year when I've finished off a few other of my fantasy series that I've been reading. Similarly, we've got a fantasy duology, but it ties into a bigger fantasy series. So we've got King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. This comes after Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which comes after the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So Shadow and Bone, and then Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom, and then these two. I think it's this one first. Might be wrong. Might have made that up. I didn't like Shadow and Bone. I liked Six of Crows. I liked Crooked Kingdom, but wasn't obsessed with it. So you might think, why are you still reading this series at all? And it's because this is about Zoya and I think Nikolai, and I really love their characters in the other series. So I picked these up because I feel like there's a chance I might like them because I actually like the characters. I did like the characters in Six of Crows, to be fair, but just because there was a lot of them, I think it was harder to get attached to them. So I do have tentative high hopes for that duology. We've got another book, two books from a series. These are both from a Becca Mac series that I don't know the name of. It's like a hockey romance series. The first one was Consider Me, and I loved that book, and then these are the next two. I don't know which order they go in. I'll look it up on Goodreads before I start reading them, but I do love good hockey romance, so I'm excited for those. They Wish They Were Us. This is a YA thriller set in like a high school, I think, about like popular bratty kids, and I have a bit of a soft spot for reading about whether it be kids or adults, like just rich bratty people. It tends to keep it quite entertaining in a book. And then I have still not read The Inheritance Games. I have the second one somewhere. Oh, here it is. No, I don't. I have the third one. I don't even own a copy of the second one. So we've got the first and the third books in the Inheritance Games series. I really need to get to this because I think I'll very much enjoy it. As I've said, I love books that have like some kind of game in them. So I really don't know why I haven't read these yet. But alas, I have not. We've got two books by Hannah Bonham Young. We've got Out on a Limb, actually. Out on a Limb's on my TBR for this month, but I don't think I'll get to it. So Out on a Limb, and then these two. I don't think these are connected to Out on a Limb. I think they are just on their own. But yeah, I'll probably read Out on a Limb first, just because it's the most popular, and then get to these two. I'm just assuming that I will like her writing, because she's got great reviews, and it seems like she writes kind of cozy romances, and I love a good cozy romance. We've then got, again it's a bit rogue, I don't know where the other book is. I've got Breaking Dawn and New Moon, and I do have Twilight, but where is it? Oh, it's here, Twilight. I know this isn't the complete series, they just had these three one day in a charity shop, and I think next, like September, October, I'm going to read these. I did read Twilight when I was younger, but I don't remember it. I remember the films, but I don't remember most of the plot at all, and I don't remember the books whatsoever. So I think I'm not saying I'm gonna do the whole series, it depends how much I like the first one upon a reread, but I thought these were just nice to have anyway, as a little callback to my childhood, because I did love love Twilight when I was younger. Fiancé Dilemma by Elena Armas. This is linked, I think, like interconnected with The Long Game, and I did really enjoy The Long Game. So this isn't like tip top of the list that I'm like dying to read, but it's just one of them that I think it'll just be an old faithful. Probably be a solid, good 4-star read to just have on the cart for when I want something that's just easy, that I don't really have to think about too much. 2 fantasies left on this shelf, and then we're moving on to the books at the bottom, which are the books that I have owned for the longest, but we'll talk about those in a minute. Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I did try and read this year on audio, but I really didn't like the audiobook at all. I got like 2 minutes in and really didn't like it, and I didn't want it to taint the book, so I just stopped listening to it, and I'm going to read this physically instead in 2025. And then we've got The Bright and the Pale. I don't know what this is about other than it's got ice in it, so I should probably try and read this towards the beginning of 2025 while we're still in the winter, because I know this is a very wintry book. Again, I'm going to pop all these back on, and then we'll talk about the books that are on the bottom, because these are a little bit different, the ones down here. So the books on the bottom are books that I've owned for a very long time, and I'm going to set a date somewhere in the middle of 2025, and if I haven't read these, they'll go in, because I'm sick of looking at them. I was considering unhauling a lot of them now, but there is actually a lot of books on here that when I read the back, I'm like, oh no, I actually am interested in that. I've just got some kind of mental block for some reason, that because I've owned them for a long time, what if I'm not going to enjoy them? It makes no sense. So these are going to be books that I'm really going to try and read in the first half of the year, and if I don't, they are getting donated, because clearly if I'm still not reading them, I've got no pull to. So some of these books are a bit rogue. There are some very popular books on here that I know have got great reviews, and there's no reason for me not to read them. But there are some that are a bit rogue. We've got The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. I've never read an Agatha Christie, but it seems like something I'd quite like a cozy mystery kind of thing. I don't know. I've read The Hobbit and the first Lord of the Rings book, and then we've got the other 2 Lord of the Rings books. Again, this sounds like something I would like, but when I read the books, I found they read very slow. So I'm thinking maybe I will love the world, but I might just watch the films. Come at me all you want saying the books are better and you should always read the book, but sometimes, guys, the films are better. Sometimes they are. Not often, but sometimes it's not worth pushing through a book if you don't like the writing style and ruining a story and ruining a whole world when you could just watch the film and enjoy it. Then we've got what I expect is going to be a very sad book, which is why I keep putting it off, My Dark Vanessa. This is, I believe, about a young girl who gets in a relationship with her teacher, and obviously because she's being manipulated, she can't see what's wrong with that, because obviously she is the vulnerable one in the situation. There's obviously a massive power imbalance. So I think people are kind of telling her, like, this isn't right, like he's taking advantage of you, but obviously she can't see it because he's in a position of power and he is massively abusing that power and manipulating her, basically. And I think this is going to be a very hard read, but likely a very important one. So I definitely want to at least give that one a go. The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. I am currently in the middle of the Bride test, and I'm not enjoying it. Well, I'm not in the middle, I'm about 30 pages in, and I'm not enjoying it. But I did quite like the Kiss Quotient. I was going to unhaul this, but then I thought no, because even if I DNF the Bride test, I can still give this one a go, because people tend to prefer this one. And it's not the writing I've got a problem with, it's the characters that I don't like. So maybe I like the characters in this one. So at least I don't just want to get rid of it because I don't like something else by the author. And I know it's interconnected, but they're not connected enough that I couldn't read this if I DNF the Bride test. How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. I've read The Midnight Library and didn't like it, which is why I keep putting this one off. But I always like to give authors a couple of chances if their stories sound interesting to me, and this does sound quite interesting. So again, I'm gonna give it a go and try not to let my opinions of The Midnight Library reflect on that. Tails All the Way Down by John Green. I have no excuse why I haven't read this. I have read, what have I read? I've read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green and I really enjoyed it, so I have no excuse not to read this. And we've also got another book, here we go. We've got Paper Towns as well by John Green, and again, both of these sound interesting. I really liked his writing in The Fault in Our Stars. We've got 2 historical fictions. So we've got The Child on Platform 1. I'll probably read this on holiday. For some reason I always tend to read historical fiction on holiday. I have no idea why. And then this is a very interesting one. So this is Commandant of Auschwitz, and it is the story, I think is it actually from his point of view? Yeah, this is difficult. It's the autobiography of an actual commandant who worked in Auschwitz, which is obviously horrific. And at first when I saw that this existed, I was like, what? Like what? Excuse me. However, the proceeds from this book go to charity, first of all. I don't know, I feel like this will be a difficult read because obviously like nothing ever is going to make me feel an ounce of sympathy or anything even remotely like that for this man. But I just thought it'd be interesting, as someone that's interested in history, like just to see how he's going to try and justify this. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be really difficult, but I'm going to give it a go. I owned this, I got this when I was at university and just never read it. But I feel like because I already own a physical copy, I'm just intrigued and horrified at the same time. Then we've got, if I can get it, Small Pleasures by Claire Chambers. I bought this purely because the cover is nice. Do I see myself really enjoying this? I can't lie, no. But I've already bought it now, so we're at least gonna try. If the cover was ugly, I would just get rid of it, but I'm kind of hoping that I like it so I can display it. Is that vain? Yes, but I don't care. Foul is Fair by Hannah Capin. I feel like I would like this if I read it at the right time. Call Me By Your Name. I bought this because I've always had a soft spot for like contemporary, coming of age kind of books. But I've heard that there's some quite weird scenes in this. I've never seen the film either. Again, I might take this one on holiday. It's quite a short, quick read. So I might just have it as like an entertaining holiday read. And then what's this one called? 6 Times We Almost Kissed. I think this is a YA sapphic romance. A very popular one, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I don't know why I've never got round to this. Like, it just gives me weird vibes. Even though I don't really know what it's about. And I think if I read it, I would probably enjoy it. And I definitely want to try and read it, but I don't know. I just keep putting it off, and I don't actually know why. I have no excuse because so many people love it. 2 older books now. So we've got The Penelope Ad by Margaret Atwood and The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. I have read and enjoyed books from both of these authors. I'm just not finding myself reaching for these, and I just don't really know why. That's a common theme on this bottom shelf, isn't it? And then a rogue one, which doesn't really fit in. This is just a little contemporary romance. I was just going to DNF, but then I read it and she's actually a writer. Books about writers and books can go one of 2 ways. I can either love them or it can be like overdone and I don't enjoy it. But there's a chance that I will really love this. So I thought, let's keep it and at least give it a go. I got it. You know how long I've owned this, because this says 3 for £5 and now it's been 3 for £6 in the works for quite some time now. So I've had this for years. And then the last few, we've got a couple more fantasy books. So we've got Shielded and Fire with Fire. These are both Fairy Loot editions that I bought because they were Fairy Loot editions and I know nothing about them. But that same thing happened with Forest of Souls and I didn't think I'd like it, and then I absolutely loved it. So I'm definitely going to give these a go. They are not connected to Forest of Souls at all, completely different authors, irrelevant. But it restored my faith in Fairy Loot fantasy picks because I haven't loved some of the other ones. But we'll give them a go. I've got another Lord of the Rings book. I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you that I know if this is the second or the third one because I have no idea. But there we go, we've got that. Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I was going to unhaul this without reading it as well, but then I read the back and the back actually does sound interesting. Like, the story sounds interesting. I'm just not sure if I'm going to love the writing, but we'll give it a go. And then we've got The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks, and the modern classic, not literally, I'm being sarcastic, but another one that's obviously very well renowned. And again, it's to do with a hero that has returned from war, which I feel like maybe I could find interesting. So there we go. That is every book on my physical TBR going into 2025. However, I am getting some books for Christmas. I know that this is going up after Christmas, but as I'm filming this, I haven't acquired all these books yet. And I'm also going to do a book haul in the new year. But then that'll be it. I'm going to order all the books that I'm interested in, all the next books in a series that I'm in the middle of that I still want to read, and just have them and then read them. That's the goal. So yeah, I'll do a quick count now of how many are on here, and then we can add the ones from the haul on at the end of the haul video whenever I end up doing that. That probably won't be for another couple of weeks after this anyway, because I want to wait until Waterstones to do triple stamps. Keeping my fingers crossed they'll do it at New Year, but I'm not sure if they are or not. But anyway, I'm gonna go count these and then I'll be back. So if my maths is correct, which it very well could not be, there are 61 books, which isn't actually as bad as I thought, to be fair. I could clear those in a year. Like, I've read 115 books this year, so even with the books that I'm going to add to the haul and like all the new releases, I reckon I could clear this TBR cart next year. Should we make that a mission, that we're going to clear the TBR cart? Obviously it won't be empty at the end of the year because I'll have added new books to it, but let's make a pact right now that not a single one of these books is going to be left, because either I'm going to have read it or it's going and it's getting unhauled by the end of next year. So that's actually not too horrifying, guys. This is actually quite nice ending to this video. Last time I filmed this, I just wanted to cry after it because I had such an overwhelming physical TBR. But yeah, that's not too bad. I'm quite happy with only having 61. I definitely want to have less than that at the end of next year. I don't want this to be stuffed full. I want to have a nice selection to choose from, but I don't want to be overwhelmed, and at the minute I'm like borderline a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of books I own that I haven't read. But also I'm kind of happy now that I know it's only 61, that's not that bad. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Please do give it a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!